guess my interest initially in art and design when I was a kid probably came from my dad, who's a civil engineer by trade, but he's also a weekend painter. And because of that, he always had Australian art history books lying around the house. So I used to go through them and trace my favourite paintings out of all of them. In particular, this artist called Albert Tucker I was really obsessed with and still am. In retrospect, his scenes were really disturbing, like people dying in hospital, people coming back from war. But the composition of his pieces and the colours is super bright and super graphic. And I think you can kind of see evidence of that in my work even today. After high school, I moved to a city called Brisbane in Australia where I studied and eventually moved to Sydney. And drunk one night, I entered the green card lottery and found out a year later that I won. I had permanent residency to the States. So I was like, okay, it's time to move to New York. I've been here for about 5, almost 6 years now, and I love the city. It's just so awesome. It's so inspiring. You can be at a huge show in Chelsea that triggers some incredible idea, or it can be some terribly designed flyer in Chinatown that triggers a whole other idea. It could be anything. The city's just so cool. Since I've been in New York was when I first started experimenting with the portrait series. Initially I was doing black and white portraits of my friends. Kind of mixture of like looser lines with sharper, harder graphics. And I kind of wanted to figure out a way that I could break people's faces down into separate components and kind of beautify the components and put them back together in a traditional human face, as opposed to a cubist who would break things down and rearrange them to kind of distort them. Eventually I wanted to and did experiment with colour, how that colour would give depth to the portraits, and also to do portraits beyond my friendship circle into people who are like at the top of their fields, like say Keith Haring in art or Woody Allen in film, Kanye in music. I guess the portraits I've done of those people are like my homages to them. I was lucky enough to exhibit those portraits. I had a couple of shows in Italy last year at Slam Jam. Other shows I've exhibited at Colette in Paris and also at the Musée de la Publicité at the Louvre in Paris. I guess that's kind of a reason I was drawn to this Turkish Airlines collaboration as well, because the concept is a continuation of what I've been doing with my portraits so far, where I can draw people at the top of their games in their industries. Turkish Airlines works with the best teams in the world, like FC Barcelona and Manchester United, who have the best players in the world, like Messi and Rooney. So I like that it's a continuation of that idea. I also like that the collaboration is a little bit different than other collaborations. We're going to have exhibitions in Barcelona and in Manchester, which will be followed on by an installation of the prints at airports around the world. It's exciting.